Hello guys, in the previous video we started with AWS storage types and Amazon S3. In this video we will be discussing about storage classes in Amazon S3 and features of Amazon S3. So let's get started. First, let's see different storage classes in Amazon S3. For each storage class we will be considering school or college as a use case. So the first storage class is Amazon S3 standard for frequent data access. Amazon S3 standard for frequent data access is suitable for the use case where the latency should be low, which means that the data should be accessible quickly. This type of storage class is used to store the data that is frequently accessed. One of the examples of the data that can be stored in Amazon S3 standard for frequent data access can be students' attendance. Next is Amazon S3 standard for infrequent data access. Amazon S3 standard for infrequent data access is used where the data is long-lived and the data that needs to be stored is less frequently accessed. Example of data that can be stored in Amazon S3 standard for infrequent data access can be students' academic record. Next is Amazon Glacier. Amazon Glacier is used when the data that needs to be stored has to be archived and high performance and speed is not required. Accessing data from Amazon Glacier can take much longer time as it is used for data archiving purpose. Example of data that can be stored in Amazon Glacier can be students' old records such as admission fee related details. Next is One Zone Infrequent Access or IA. One Zone Infrequent Access is used where data is infrequently accessed and can be stored in a single region. Example of data that can be stored in One Zone Infrequent Access or IA can be student's report card. The last one is Amazon S3 Standard Reduced Redundancy Storage. Amazon S3 redundancy storage is used when the data to be stored is non-critical and should be reproduced quickly. Example of data that can be stored in Amazon S3 redundancy storage can be library books. Now let's see some features of Amazon S3 in detail. First is Lifecycle Management. In Lifecycle Management, Amazon S3 applies a set of rules that define actions to a group of objects. As you can see, our bucket friend has a message for us. It's saying that we can manage and store the objects efficiently and cost effectively with the help of lifecycle management. There can be two types of action in lifecycle management that will help us manage and store objects efficiently and cost effectively. And those are transition actions and expiration actions. Let's discuss them one by one. First is transition actions. With transition actions, we can choose to move objects to another storage class. Example can be moving data from S3 Standard to S3 Glacier. With transition actions, we can configure S3 to move our data between various storage classes on a defined schedule. Let's understand this by a simple example. Initially, suppose our data is stored inside S3. Suppose our data is stored inside S3 Standard Frequent Access Storage class. Now suppose that we have not used that data frequently for 30 days. So the data will be automatically moved to S3 Infrequent Access. By conferring our S3 bucket to shift the infrequently accessed data to S3 Infrequent Access Storage class after 30 days, we can achieve this. Similarly, we can extend our bucket configuration by adding that if infrequently accessed data is not at all accessed for 60 days, then after 60 days, the data is moved to S3 Glacier. So this way, we can automatically migrate our data to lower cost storage as the data ages. Second type of actions are expiration actions. Expiration actions helps in removing all the objects inside S3 bucket when a specified date or time period in the object's lifetime is achieved. It is similar to expiry date of any product. After the product's expiry date is achieved, that product is not supposed to be used. Similarly, after an object's lifetime reaches a specific time period, it gets expired or deleted. Second feature of Amazon S3 that we will be discussing in this video is bucket policy. So bucket policy is simply an identity and access management or IAM policy where we can allow or deny permissions to Amazon S3 resources. Bucket policies also allows us to define security rules that apply to more than one file within a bucket. Let's see an example. Suppose you have created an IAM user for your AWS account and you don't want that user to access the bucket named cloud. In order to achieve this, you can set up an IAM policy or bucket policy, which are nothing but JSON or JavaScript object notation scripts to restrict that user from accessing the cloud bucket. Next feature of Amazon S3 is data protection. Data protection provides IT teams with an object storage that is highly durable, protected, and scalable. Amazon S3 protects data using two methods, data encryption and versioning. Let's discuss them one by one. First is data encryption. Data encryption provides protection to data while it is being transmitted and while it is at rest. Data encryption can happen in two ways. First is client-side encryption, which is encryption of data when the data is at rest. And second is server-side encryption, which is encryption of data when the data is in motion or moving between different services inside AWS. We will not go into technicalities of client-side and server-side encryption as it is beyond the scope of this video's agenda. For now, just keep in mind these things only if you're not familiar with encryption. So let's move ahead. Next is versioning. Versioning can be utilized to preserve, recover, and restore early versions of every object that we store inside S3 bucket. Let's understand this by a simple example. Suppose you created a file with name suppose photo.png. Now you made some changes to the file. Suppose you converted it to HD image using some programming logic and stored it in the same bucket with the same object name, but now it will be having a different version ID. Now when you check that file, you see an error in that file and you want to go back to your previous versions of photo.png. In this case, versioning can help you by going back to previous versions of that object and rectify the error and successfully create different version which is correct one. Hence, unintentional erase or overwriting of objects can be easily regained with the help of versioning. Also note that in one bucket we can have same object name but different version IDs. Next feature of Amazon S3 is cross-region replication or CRR in short. Cross-region replication means that we can automatically create a copy of every object that is uploaded to our S3 bucket in different AWS regions. Keep in mind that in order to use cross-region replication, we need to turn on the versioning feature. Last feature that we will be discussing is transfer acceleration. It enables fast, easy, and secure transfers of files over long distances between the clients and S3 buckets. For accelerated transfers of files, edge locations around the world that are provided by Amazon CloudFront are used. As discussed in previous videos, CloudFront is a content delivery network or CDN service that allows secure transfer of data to any destination with higher transfer speeds. You can learn more about CloudFront by watching previous videos. Yeah, so that was all for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in comment section below, and make sure to like and subscribe for more such videos. Thank you.